Hi, this is Pastor Josh from First Baptist De Queen. Today is Palm Sunday. This week, throughout the entire week, every morning, we are going to be taking a look at what Jesus was doing that specific day leading up to Easter. So as we go through these scriptures each one of these days, I want you to keep that in mind. Jesus knew why he was going to Jerusalem. He knew that that was coming, that his arrest, his trials, his torture, his execution, and then his resurrection. He knew all of that was coming going in to this week. And so as we're going to look today specifically about the triumphal entry on Palm Sunday, 7 days before his resurrection. So in Luke chapter 19, this is what Luke writes. Jesus went on ahead going up to Jerusalem. When he drew near to Bethphage and Bethany at the mount that is called Olivet, he sent two of the disciples, saying, "Go into the village in front of you, where on entering you will find a colt tied, on which no one has ever sat. Yet untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you untying it?' you shall say this, 'The Lord has need of it.'" So Jesus sends two of his disciples into town to get this colt and bring it so he could ride it into town. This is a prophecy from Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9, that a Messiah would come riding on a colt. So Jesus is going to fulfill that prophecy. And verse 32, so those who were sent went away and found it just as he had told them. And as they were untying the colt, its owner said to them, "Why are you untying the colt?" And he said to them, "The Lord has need of it." And they brought it to Jesus, and throwing their cloaks on the colt, they set Jesus on it. And as he rode along, they spread their cloaks on the road. So this situation almost is a direct copy of what actually happened in the Old Testament to King Jehu in 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 13. This deal with putting the garments down. They put their garments down as a sign of kingship, and here the crowd does it in honor of Jesus. And now those who are educated in the crowd, the significance of that situation would not have been lost on them. Verse 37, as they were drawing near, already on the way to the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of his disciples began to rejoice and praise God with a loud voice for all the mighty works that he had seen, or that they had seen, saying, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest." And some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples." He answered, "I tell you, if these were silent, the very stones would cry out." So as Jesus is approaching Jerusalem, his disciples almost treat it like a coronation, him coming in. And that doesn't sit very well with the religious leaders who were there in the crowd. They see this almost as blasphemy because they have a hard time imagining that Jesus would be the long-awaited king. Look at verse 41. As he gets near to Jerusalem, look what happens. He drew near and saw the city, and he wept over it, saying, "Would that you, even you, had known on this day the things that make for peace. But now they are hidden from your eyes, for the days will come upon you when your enemies will set up a barricade around you and surround you and hem you in on every side and tear you down to the ground, you and your children within you. And they will not leave one stone upon another in you, because you did not know the time of your visitation." So Jesus is weeping over Jerusalem. Really, he's weeping over the unbelief in Jerusalem. He's weeping over what is taking place within them, that even though those around him are celebrating, the believers in that crowd are few. Even those who are his 12 disciples, within just a few days, everything would change. One of them would commit suicide, and the other 11 would hide and lock themselves in a room for fear that they would also be arrested and executed. And Jesus, on his way into town, weeps over the unbelief that is there within that town. And then jumping over to Mark chapter 11, we see what happens next. Mark 11, verse 11. Jesus entered Jerusalem, went into the temple, and when he had looked around at everything, as it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. And so that's what happens on day one. That's what happens on Palm Sunday. He comes into town. He weeps over the unbelief. He goes into the temple. And then since it was late in the day, he makes the trek back out to the nearby village of Bethany, and he stays there that night. And so as Jesus is experiencing all this, just a few days removed from his crucifixion and resurrection, he's thinking about the unbelief that is there, and he's weeping over it. He desires them to come to know God, to come to know his salvation plan. And that's what God desires for you, to know his salvation plan and to see those around you as people in need of that same salvation. So thank you for checking this out today, and I hope you'll come back tomorrow to check out what happens on Monday of Easter week with Jesus.